Hey, everybody. Welcome to the next installment of MSP Business School. As always, I'm Brian Doyle, and with me are my co-hosts, Rob Rogers and Tim McNeil of OSR Manage. Guys, it's another day for a roundtable. You know, this is when we get to showcase the skills we bring to the party.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
And people tune out. No.
We hope.
Yeah.
But, I know one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, and it's something that everybody, of course, struggles with, how to really harness the power of podcasting. And I mean, not podcasting, prospecting, Jesus. But, realistically with that, I think it's also prospecting at different levels, right? You got true sales professionals that are doing that as only their daily jobs. And then you got the owner-led salespeople, right? That have to juggle other responsibilities with the job of prospecting and the knowledge. If we're not getting our name out there, probably nothing's going to come back.
Yeah.
So, with that said, I don't know if you want to kick us off, Rob, and kind of give us your thoughts of, what you want to discuss today and where we can really center in on this a bit.
Yeah. For me, Brian, all of us have been doing this for a long, long time. And we've done it from both sides, the sales rep side and the owner side. So I kind of wanted to break it down into that for the MSPs out there, right? The sub 1.5 million that are still owner-led, right? They're going out there, referrals, and doing, the marketing, the guerrilla marketing, everything they can do to get people in the door. And then that first sales rep. And how does a sales rep go out there and do prospecting? Because let's face it, from my perspective, prospecting is hands down the most difficult thing to do out there. No questions asked, because it's brutal.
And the game is brutal.
It's
right?
absolutely, I mean, it's a thankless job. 99%.
It is a thankless job. Yeah. And you're talking to 95% of the people out there who really want to cut you, right? When you call them up or you send them an email and they want nothing to do with you. You're literally combing through or raking through to talk to 5% of the people out there. So what I wanted to do today, fellas, is talk about it from the two different perspectives and the different systems that you can do out there to make it happen. So, Brian, I'll kind of start with you. Right now, you're doing all the guerrilla marketing, you're doing all the guerrilla sales as an entrepreneur. And you remember your days back in the day when you were pounding the pavement and pounding the phones. How do you do it now in this new digital market, right?
So which tack do you want me to hit first? If I was playing the role of sales rep or if I was playing the
owner. First, let's talk to the owners. Let's get those guys.
So, obviously as a bootstrap software organization getting started, sales starts first with me as the owner led, right? Face of the company, that kind of thing, as we get started. And, it certainly was a little bit easier when I first got started, because we also didn't have those pesky customers in the arsenal as well, right? So
and that's the trick, right? Yeah.
And selling when you're first starting out and you've only got, a handful of customers and their friendlies is obviously very parallel to what a traditional sales rep's doing, right? Because you've got the time and cycles. But then as the organization starts growing, as you start scaling personnel, as you start really looking at the processes and trying to figure out how to share this, but yet you're still taking on the role of the primary salesperson for the organization, it gets more difficult. You have to get more creative, right? Yeah. So, one of the things that obviously is usually the first thing to go is the time to pick up the phone and make the phone calls, right? You just, there's other pressing things. In my case, we're doing demos. We run our ramp camp consultings. I could have 5 to 6 hours of my day blocked off 2 weeks in advance every day, just on the obligations of the job, right? And then you got to do your follow-ups from that, right? Because the money's in the follow-up. So, the good news for somebody like me is we've built a nice little inbound SEO kind of campaign, and a lot of prospects come funneling in. For the traditional MSP, though, that's probably a little bit less the case, because they're competing with multiple people in a singular market and probably haven't made those investments, especially if they're at the early stage of their growth trajectory, to do SEO and the inbound tactics there. So when I started saying, how am I going to reach out outbound intelligently, LinkedIn obviously became the primary source for me, right?
Okay.
So it offered me two opportunities. One, I'm the business owner, so I don't come off immediately as a salesperson. Okay. And I'll be candid, having a side gig like the podcast helps too, because then in your title of who you are, it's hey, CEO of X, or we help MSPs do this. And by the way, we got a podcast. So you really become disarming and threatening, or less threatening. So you really got to have a disarming, in the LinkedIn world, a disarming profile statement for yourself, just to kind of make it known what you're here for, but not do it. Then you got to have a plan when you're LinkedIn, marketing. Obviously, the market's gotten much more savvy. 2 years ago, I could put out 100 responses and get probably close to a 45% take rate for connections. Now you're seeing it down in the teens because everybody's emails have gotten bombarded. And why? Because they've gotten bombarded by all these LinkedIn groups that popped up for marketing and put, said, we can do it for you, and really started spamming the world with the same messages repeatedly to everybody.
Wait, hold on a second, Brian. You're saying LinkedIn for you has gone from the 40s down to the teens?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, look, it's like anything.
We knew it was going to happen.
Yeah,
well, knew it. Like it was.
It's the way it is. Like you can't. It was untapped, and now it's not.
And now it's saturated.
And also it was in the messaging. So let's talk about how I was getting 40 before and how I'm even retaining teens. Maybe edge of 20 at this stage, but it's precipitously lower than it was, a year ago when I was doing this. And obviously, as a result, I'm even putting a little less time into it because it's not it's not reaping what it once did, right? And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, it just said that the LinkedIn marketing gurus came in, everybody jumped on board with that, and everybody sent out the same templates. We saw the same thing happen with email marketing
all over the place.
Right?
Yep.
If you don't want to if you're looking for the swipe file to do any of this and you don't take the time to customize your message, you might as well not do it because they've seen that email message before. They've seen that LinkedIn connection before. So I have a message in LinkedIn where I basically, talk more. And the other part is don't be selling. This is the biggest mistake everybody does is they go in, even if they start relationship, people can't resist going for the kill on the next call.
Yeah.
I look at sales as a game of chess, not checkers, right? Checkers, we want immediate reward. We want to get that game over and let's go start a new one. Chess can go on for days, right?
Yep.
So when I'm looking at LinkedIn, my first chess. And with good reason, right? Strategy and go out there and execute, but give it some thought. And, the way I look at this is really, you got to put together messaging that is sincere up front. I have a message that's kind of along the lines of, hey, I'm not here to bother you. I just want to share good content and I want to know more about you and your company in the process.
Okay.
Done. Sometimes I'll even put in, I swear to God, no selling.
All right. So Brian, one of the things that I see owners like on the cutting edge owners that I see that do a really good job on the front side of it, they fail on the back side of it. Tim, like you see this all the time. You see the follow-up is where the owners are really falling apart because they don't understand the cadence. They don't understand the time. So Tim, I talked to you, like you do the business side now, right? If for OSR, you're in charge of all the sales, right? Yeah. Like how do you handle the follow-up?
I'm not much different than most of the other owners out there. Look, it's the reality is if you have, I use this analogy pretty much every time I'm on a prospecting call with an owner. If you have 10 owner things to do and 10 sales things to do, you're going to do the owner things.
Yeah,
you just are.
Yeah.
So sales is in an ownership seat. It's a difficult thing to do. So what do you do? What do you do if you don't have time for it? I mean, that can come in different ways. You can get a sales associate to help you follow up on, and I'm not talking about a salesperson. I'm talking about a true associate that can help you do proposals, take the menial tasks off your plate, a lower wage person, right? Just to help you bridge that gap. While at the same time, probably helping in other areas, whether it's operation or whatever, because that's probably not a full-time job. Or you can get a full-time sales rep, which obviously is what we push for, right? The advantage of having a sales rep is even if you get a lead in the door, you give it to them. You don't give them a full commission because they didn't hunt the deal. So it's a company generated lead. They run with it. You're still a part of it. But it's going to get followed up on. And if that lead isn't followed up on, then you probably have to find.
But that's the trick, Tim. Yeah, I mean, that's the trick. I mean, so you're being modest, and like I'm smirking here because I'm listening to you say this stuff, and
Yeah.
you're being so nice. But I have seen you do your follow up, and like,
Yeah.
yes, if there's 10 things for the business owner to do, and there's 10 things for the salesperson to do, you're going to do the business owner things. But one of the things that you are very good at is follow up emails and never letting things die because you failed, right?
Yeah.
So like, how often do you follow up with people? What's the cadence? Like once every couple of days, once every couple of weeks? Like, what do you do there?
Yeah. So that,
Is it an email? Is it a phone call? Do you show up at their location with flowers and chocolates? Like, what do you do to them?
Yeah, it just depends, right? It's a feel. It's every prospect is different. Most you put into a call and email, or LinkedIn. Phase.
Okay.
If you're an MSP rep, I've said it a million times. Look, the whole reason that we switched from being a lead generation company to an outsourced sales management company is because there was only so many things that we could do as a lead gen company. We can't go knock on a door. We can't go stop in and shake a hand. But if you're a rep at an MSP, you can do those things, and that's what separates you. That's what makes you different. So it is dropping off. It's dropping off things on a random day, or trying to get somebody out to lunch or what have you to keep the process going. But it's a feel. Usually it's calls and emails. Sometimes you need to elevate that though.
All right, Brian, I'm going to put you on the spot here. You ready?
Do you want me to answer that question, or is that what you're going to put me on the
spot? That's what I was going to do. Like, okay,
I'm
Brian,
ready. Yeah.
So you've had your first initial demo. Yep. Right. And everything went great. You went back and you bragged to your wife and everything was fantastic. And then they ghosted you. Right. Which 90% of them do. Right. They got 15,000 other things to do. They ghosted you.
So first and foremost, it starts with how you close out any sales call. Right.
What?
And that is, these are the action items I'm taking away. This is what I owe you. And this is when I'm going to get it. And the biggest thing that I see MSP owners fail at, because Lord knows I did for a long time, was over promise when you're going to get back to them. So even though I've got my, templated formats for all my proposals, they don't take me a lot to do. I'll say to them very simply, look, my action items are, you will get proposals within 24 hours based on the conversation we just had and what we talked about. And if I don't hear from you within a week, usually is where I put the barometer, I'll reach out to you to see if you're interested in starting, in my case, a trial step, if they didn't immediately commit to it right there on that call, right? And because sometimes they are doing evaluations, but I've set two things here. I've set up, what I'm going to give them in the next 24 hours and what I'm going to give them in a week, right? And of course, and then I've pre-built all my follow-up templates. I can customize them all day long, but I've got a tool where I just basically click that template in. It's already got my pre-built links. It's got everything I wanted to have in it. But then I'll customize, usually my first paragraph to meet what actually came out of that conversation. This has helped me be extremely efficient. And it also helps me know who's engaging and who's not, to your ghosting question, right? Because if I see ghosting 3-4 times, then I'm also telling myself, this is not where I should waste time. I can still put them in nurture sequences in my traditional marketing automation. So they're getting touched. They still are, because of the way my marketing automation set up, they'll still get some automated messages that look like regular messages from me too. And I'm telling you, it works, because I'll come to that in a minute. But the key is, I really built this foundation and took the time, which a lot of people skip over, so I can make my life easier later. So I've got, when I say I've got templates, I've got about 35 different templates to choose from based on the outcomes and based on the direction I want to take a customer and where they are in the life stage with me. So my follow-up sequence is very simple. Let's say after that week, I do connect with them and they say, yeah, I want to move to trial. Well, then I have a follow-up schedule for the next 15 days of that trial. So after 3 or 4 days, I have an email that says, can I help you? And it basically, if you want to schedule some more time, let's schedule a call together. Or if not, here's where the university is.
So a soft reach out.
Soft reach out.
Got it.
All my reach outs are very soft during the process, right?
Okay. So you do passive reach outs.
Yeah, because I know where my kill is. I know my kill is
at
the end of that trial, right?
Okay.
Then I've got, so then I'll follow up. Then I got, a second one that kind of follows the same thing, but it follows on about 3 days after that. Hey, you've had it about a week. Tell me what you like. And let's see if you want to schedule a call. I'm always trying to drive that next action of getting on the phone to answer any questions because I don't want knowledge transfer to be the barometer.
Sure.
Then I move forward a little further in the process. And now we start getting into the closing. Hey, you're nearing the end of your trial. Have you had an opportunity to do it? That kind of thing. And then as I get near the end of the trial, now, of course, I'm going for the kill. Hey, we're at the end. Are you ready to execute? Now, let's go back to your ghosted concept. Let's say at some point in there, they start ghosting me, right? Maybe they found another thing that they're evaluating against me. When I get to the end of the trial, it's never the end of the trial. You know what I mean? Because I'll still go into a follow-up stage the day after the trial ends. And this I've actually automated through my marketing automation, but it comes out as me. I just send a simple email that says, hey, we've completed the trial. Are you looking to move forward, or do you, at this point, do you need a little bit more time? This helps. I don't care if they need more time. I want to finish it in the course of that month. That's really my goal, right? But if you need a little bit more time, I don't want you to not take, I don't want you to think because I canceled your trial now, you're out and you've lost your opportunity when maybe you just got too busy, right? So, we continue that follow-up. Then I've got the final closing actions. After about a week after the trial expires, my system will close them out for good. And then they'll get an email that says, hey, thank you so much for giving our tool a try. We're sorry, we're not the right, platform for you. If you do want to try with us, click here and you can start your subscription. Otherwise, in 2 days, we're going to deactivate your system for good and delete the data from the system. That final email, that breakup email, that fill or kill email, however you want to call it, that drives the most action I get. That's where then I get the, oh, I didn't get a chance to try it. Can I get another trial? Yeah, sure. Engage with me now. Of course you can get another trial. Or, hey man, I want to do this, but I want to do it in April. Great. I'll set you up in my follow-up and we'll come back together in April or whatever the case may be. But you'll be amazed how many people sign up on the spot then because they realize their trial's over and they realize I'm closing the book. And what you've heard from me in all this is I've automated most of these steps, where I've given myself a leg up where, I schedule myself every Wednesday and every Friday for an hour in the morning just to do follow-ups. And all I do is look at my pipeline and see where they are in the schedule. And if I want to do any personal touch for anybody that has been engaging with me, or make sure if they ask me a question, I've returned an answer, because sometimes it gets lost in my box.
Yeah,
that's when I do it. And you got to put it on the calendar. But think about it. I just told you, really, I'm putting 2 hours of real sales effort.
Okay, hold on, Brian. So what? Just like, let me back this up for a second. Is this entire thing email driven and LinkedIn driven? Do you not pick up the phone?
LinkedIn is for prospecting, bro. I'm not in the mode.
But you're not picking up the phone with any of these prospects?
No, I don't have any time to pick up the phone. I drive them to a demo and then we talk. I haven't used the phone. I joke about it, and I don't mean this is a good thing, because it's not, right? But here's what I do know. In my consulting life before starting VCIO Toolbox, I managed inside sales reps. You guys are familiar with some of those clients.
Yeah.
I did the statistics on it, and what I really saw was 80 calls was maybe arriving, or 80 dials was getting maybe 4 or 5 people answering the phone on the other side.
That's still true.
Yeah, it's not a high number. It's not a high return versus reward. But by crafting the right messaging and using the right modes, and then leveraging the fact that I'm an owner and using more of the business connection instead of the sales connection to start the conversation, I saw a higher rate of return with people that wanted to engage. Then you got to publish some content. You got to do some follow-up. And then once you get them in there, just to, like what Tim said, you just got to be prescriptive about your follow-up. Automate what you can, or get a VA. I mean, that's really what I'm looking at right now to increase the flow of outbound initial. Get a VA who can send out 100 emails a day where I can.
So Tim, I know you personally, and I know that I am pretty sure that you have a different system on that side of it. You're more of a laser type, right? A sniper type there. So what do you do there on that? You've been ghosted, right? Everything went great. The call ended, you went home and you high-fived Janine, everything's fantastic. And, the next day when they were supposed to get back to you, like they were supposed to, they didn't get back to you. What happens?
Yeah, it's there's a lot of what Brian was saying in there, as far as one, you can't leave a call without setting a next step.
100%.
If you don't have a next step, truly doesn't matter how good the call went. If you don't
You're in the
have
beta
next
position.
step, yeah,
Totally
you're,
agree.
you're
Yep.
done. You're done. There's no coming back from that unless a major occurrence happens with the prospect and they're like, ah, shit.
And not even from a bad thing, right? It's just they get busy and they
Yeah.
see your email come in with 50 other emails.
Yeah.
You're not on their schedule.
Yeah.
And like it's not that
You
they're
push
not
to the bottom of the
interested.
list. You
They're
just do.
you're somebody on the list that they have to get back to because they're
So-
super busy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm running into that right now with a couple of people, and
Okay.
it's just you, and that's where it goes back. So to me, the automation is amazing now. The cadences that are out there and the sales enablement is truly amazing. But to me personally, I don't subscribe as much to that because for me, everything is a little bit more of a laser focus, right? I know the people that I can get based on the calls that I have, but that's where it's so much of a feel. It's hard to it's hard for me to put it into words sometimes, but
Mhm.
when I know I have somebody, it gets you float the line of being persistent but not annoying. And quite honestly, there are times where I don't really care if I'm aggressive, as long as I do it in a joking way. Like, for instance, I have somebody who happens to be in Brooklyn, and if he's listening, maybe he should call me. But it's like, he's a great dude. I know at some point it's going to work. I send him messages almost messing with him, just being like, all right, are you ready to come? Or are you ready to come to the dark side? Or like, are we doing this?
All right. So what you do, Timmy, is when you're more of a one-on-one, are these emails or are these calls?
Both.
Okay. So you call and then follow up with an email, or you email, like, what do you do?
Yeah, call. I am usually a call first, email second kind of person, but I rarely do. I almost always do them together.
Okay, so you do it in tandem, and you call in a joking manner, but you're aggressive with a joke.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, and then you follow it up with the same in an email. And I've seen you put memes in there. You put all sorts of funny stuff in there. Joking around. Okay, so you're more focused on the one.
Yeah.
Brian, you're more focused on the many.
Well,
right? Because you have so many different types when you're doing this. You have so many different types of prospects on the that you're talking.
There's still well, there is, because I got people that come in just through a trial, and then I got people that actually take a demo, right? So there's two different engagements there. I got different cadences there.
Yeah.
With the demos, generally, if somebody goes to a trial off of a demo, we've already agreed that there's going to be, like, as part of my closing in my next step, it's, after this demo, I'm going to follow up with you in a week. If you go to trial, then it's, hey, in the next week, I want us to get on a call. Here's my link. Schedule that call at a time convenient for you, because I want to make sure that I'm answering any questions that you need. So I'm already setting up the follow-up step and making them commit to it too. If they don't, I of course chase them down if they don't do my link, but most of them will immediately at that point, because I'm putting it in a way, schedule that meeting as soon as we get off the call, because they want to get it on their calendar too. Yeah. And that's where I'm getting my litmus of, are they engaged? Now, if I translate that to the MSP world, it's the same thing. If I'm going to go through the effort of bringing you a proposal, and I'm going to bring that proposal and put it out on your desk, and this is a step I don't see a lot of MSP sales reps doing. When that proposal hits the desk, even though you have a conversation about it right then and there, you should say, hey, I'm going to call you on Wednesday at 2:00. Yes. What's going to work for you there? So I can answer any other questions that come out of this proposal, right? And you're setting that table stake. So I don't want it to sound like I'm never on the phone, Rob. I'm just not prospecting through cold calling right now, because it's not the most successful means. And to make those 80 dials, you're committing 4 hours, which I can probably get the same. I can get the same output. I can get the same output a different way,
Yeah. I totally agree. But you're also on the owner side. So I love to hear. So a lot of the owners, they fail on the prospecting side at the follow-up stage.
Well,
right? They get a lead.
Yeah.
They get a lead. They somehow find themselves on the hook with something, right? And then the prospect isn't like throwing balloons up and confetti and doing sky shows. So they think they're not interested. So the follow-up falls apart. right? And so I think what you're bringing to the table for these owners right now, Brian, is automate yourself a follow-up system at different stages. And even if you don't have the time to make a call, if you can't do an email automation, then bro, I don't know what to say.
Or I'm not even saying email automation from a pure automation standpoint, but have those templates that you can reach into. And maybe where the automation is, my biggest thing is having a scheduler for those emails. Because sometimes I might lose that hour because of a fire that I was going to do on a Wednesday. Well, I can very easily on a Wednesday night sit and watching the Yankee game and go in there and set up all those things that I need to send out and schedule them. And I even like to schedule them by time zone, so they're hitting people's mailboxes when they're coming in. If a guy in England's coming in, there's no reason my email can't hit their box at 8 o'clock in the morning their time, so I can get a reply back by 8 o'clock in the morning my time. And and that's been my magic, because then I feel like I never fall behind in my follow-up. If I can't do it in the time that I want to do it, I can do it at night, but I also don't make it look like I'm burning the midnight oil, right?
Sure.
I don't want you getting my email at 10 o'clock at night when you're an East Coast company and thinking I never go to sleep.
Right.
The only reason I'm doing it then is because something else probably pushed me out the door, but I want to get those things out.
Because the Yankees are losing.
Yes. So 9:03 tomorrow, that email hits the box. And, for you Sox fans out there, at the time of recording, you guys are doing a good job of giving it back to us.
All right. So we're coming up to the end of our time here, fellas. I got a couple questions for you. We're not going to do a speed round, but I got a couple questions for you. Timmy, I'm going to hit you up first here. What is the number one thing that an owner needs to work on that you see globally, out there for the MSP side, on prospecting and closing? What's the number one thing that you can give advice on?
Oh, it's always setting the next step. And two things: setting the next step. And if you're an owner who has time to prospect, don't stop after 4, because nothing happens until you're in the 7 to 12.
The 7 to 12 follow-up stage is what you're saying.
Whether it's, and sometimes that can be 7 to 12 emails, but even that, I mean, come on, we all on this phone know when you get an email and it's like, hey, sorry, I missed you. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, good for you.
Okay.
So it's got to be a combination is all I mean. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that most MSP owners stop at 4.
Yeah.
And they need to go to
people too, though.
So yeah, I mean, that's so true. That's one of the things we grade on. And you're saying 7 to 12 is the ideal range.
Yeah, it's proven 7 to 12 times before a lot of times before they even know that you exist.
And that doesn't mean every other day, right? How long can that take?
That can be spread out over 5 to 8 weeks, depending on how aggressive you want to get.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
And again, not all emails, not all phone call, not all emails, not all phone calls, just
different ways to try and get in there. Okay. Brian, you ready?
Yep.
All right, Brian, second thing, what can you offer to the MSPs out there, to the owners? How can we help them here?
So how do we help them? So, obviously I'm assuming when you mean by help them to do these steps that we're doing and not just help them. So my 2 cents is you got to put together a blueprint. Maybe we'll do this as a little giveaway from the MSP Business School site too, as that. It's build a framework. I love frameworks because frameworks can be followed and frameworks can be outsourced for those low level tasks, right?
Okay.
So to Timmy's part about the 7 to 12 touches, get them prescribed. You know what I mean? Like, I know what my touch points are going to be on the buyer's journey, and I alter them when I get feedback, right? Then we change it. The other thing is make sure you're driving something of value in each one of those touch points. To Timmy's point about don't just send, hey, I was here to follow up, want to see what's going on. You got to really phrase these things and even push it further. Hey, when we were on our call, you said this was something you were concerned about. I want to see if we can get on the horn and I can show you how the tool can help you make that change, or from an MSP, how this service can make that change. And I also want to see what our actionable next steps are at this stage of your evaluation. I'm pushing not from I just wanted to check in standpoint, because nobody cares about that. But I'm saying, hey, this is a problem you had said to me. I don't know if yet you've solved that problem through your own exploration. I'm here to help you. My link is on every one of my follow-up emails so they can schedule a call, and again, I always even phrase it because, my way with Timmy of getting these guys on the phone is, hey, I know we're all busy. I want you to find a time that's convenient for you, right?
100%.
So that's
Yep.
where I'll play there. And then it's going, but it's always driving the next action. Hey, what's our appropriate next steps at this time? Should we move to, and always say whatever your next step is. Should we move to a trial? Should we move to a phone call to reconnect on this? Should we move to, are you ready to go?
Whatever it is. Got it.
Whatever it is. And you got to be prescriptive. And the problem is it's the time investment up front, like any process that we need to do. Yeah. You got to sit down and say to yourself, what are my sales steps in my sales cycle? Then where are my deviation points? And it, in my case, it caused me to write 35 different emails that I can at least leverage. And then I customize them. This is not, when I say automation, those emails don't go out automated without me touching them.
Just
I schedule it, but I'm able to do it in a minute and a half instead of 25 to get the email done, right? Then I've got the automation that just goes with being in the funnel, because there is behind the scenes an automation making sure they're getting touched on that side too. And then it's the close. You got to have the breakup. You got to have the breakup because at some point you got to kiss the lead goodbye. We love to pet it, stroke it, make it ours, and kiss it.
That's right.
You don't want it to go away.
There
at some point in time, it's
all right,
George. Come off the funnel. And I'm telling you, man, breakups, sometimes they don't happen. And that's the beauty of it. Sometimes it's just like person had to know that you were now done.
So here, real quick, fellas, before we move on, and I don't want to, there's a vendor out there that keeps sending me emails all the time, and I'm not going to call them out, right? But they keep sending me emails month after month after month, telling me that if I don't reply, they're going to unsubscribe me. And I literally track them, and they send it to me every 32 days. I am on month 4 that they're telling me that they're going to break up, and I just want to. I'm going around the horn at this point. I want to see how it plays out. They're breaking up with me for the last 4 months, and they're not doing it. And now it's just like, oh, come on now.
I will say this. I will never probably put in my breakup that I'm going to unsubscribe you.
Yes.
I still want to keep in touch with you.
Yeah.
But I will say it looks like this is over.
Not the time.
I'm not going to pursue you. Yep. And then I put them into my soft nurture sequence, or quite candidly, I set a follow-up for everybody that doesn't take a trial for 6 months out.
Yeah. Timmy, what do you do?
Yeah. Same thing.
6 months. Hey, Timmy, what's your breakup email?
Usually the white flag email, just like hey, it seems like this isn't the right time, just raising the white flag, would still love to talk to you. But if if now's not the right time, that's fine. Just let me know when it is.
With an image of a white flag in the email.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And a vendor had sent that to me. I liked the email enough to reuse it. I didn't like the email enough to email the guy back to him.
So that's an interesting perspective. Yeah. I liked it enough to say I'm going to start trying this. But
I
didn't really like it enough to get the action.
Whatever it was not. They thought we were an MSP, and it's like, all right.
That's different if you're not a mismatch.
Yeah, it wasn't. Whatever it was, it wasn't a match. I don't remember. It was years ago at this point.
I keep saying that to all the RMM tool vendors, guys. I don't monitor anything.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay, fellas. Wow, this was a good one. I love these types where we just like throw out our knowledge and start like coming at it with different ideas. So, we will be putting this up on our mspbusinessschool.com and anywhere you get your podcast. Fellas, any last closing thoughts before we part ways here?
No, I mean, you hit it all. The money's in the follow-up, period. Getting a sales call doesn't mean nothing.
And just because somebody doesn't respond back to you doesn't mean that they're not interested. They're as busy as you are. So be patient. It'll happen eventually as long as you do it the right way.
Keep working. And my closing thought is, to that template idea that you had, Brian, the way that I do my templates is through Outlook signatures. So in your signature, instead of making it just your, all the best Rob Rogers and your stuff, I put in the entire email into that signature and name it response, introduction email, blah, blah, blah. Like I have maybe 6 different emails in my signature. And I just choose which signature I want, and boom, it has the whole thing templated out for me.
Are you able to track opens and clicks?
Through our automation, through our CRM. right? Because our Outlook has an integration with our CRM.
All right. So you've got your wave templates. I've got a little tool. I probably pay $9 a month
Everybody's
for.
got their own little ideas out
You know,
there.
they
That's my
just
2
do it.
seconds contribution to watching you two sales gurus go at it.
Yeah.
All
All right. So
right.
thanks a lot, fellas. We really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
All right.